Welcome back to ESBR Boxing's YouTube channel. Delighted to be joined by Owen. We are just 24 hours or so away from the big rematch between Zhilei, Zhang and Joyce taking place at the Ovo Arena in London tomorrow night. Owen, really good to be joined by you, as always, especially for a fight like this, because it does feel like it's a 50-50 fight in terms of what people are saying. It does feel like you could go up to 100 boxing fans and around 50% of them would say Joyce. Around 50% of them would say Zhilei Zhang. How much are you looking forward to this fight?
Firstly, thank you for having me on for another video. But I'm so looking forward to this because I really feel like it's it might sound harsh, but if Joyce loses this, it's a case of that's two huge losses on the bounce. What what is next for Joyce is a big question. If he loses, even Zhilei Zhang at the age, if he gets stopped by Joyce, you question what would be next. I think the repercussions of this fight, especially for Joyce, could be huge. I think it's huge in a winner's aspect as well, because I really do think with the outlook of the heavyweight division at the moment, realistically, are they looking at a title shot? Probably. I don't know how that will look because the bout scenario at heavyweight's a bit of a shambles, to be quite honest. That's another video in itself. But yeah, I think there's massive repercussions for winners and losers. So I loved the first fight, and if it's anything like the first fight, we're in for a treat. So yeah, really excited for it.
Yeah, I think obviously let's not forget Zhang was the underdog in the first fight, and despite being the underdog, it was a fairly one-sided fight, wasn't it?
Yeah.
I would think like Zhang won pretty much every round and got the stoppage in the sixth round. I agree with you in terms of what you've said about what happens next. There's so many things that could happen next. The heavyweight division changes on a weekly basis. But I think that I do agree that the winner of this fight, I believe, will fight for the WBO world title next. Whether that's against Usyk or not, I really don't know. It's a really tough one, but it could be. But yeah, we'll have to see what happens. Do want to ask about what you thought about the weigh-in, Owen. We've done a weigh-in reaction video. Please do check that out if you haven't done already. In a nutshell, just both fighters have gone up in weight. Joyce put 25 pounds on compared to the first fight in April. Your thoughts when you saw that weigh-in, or kind of images from the weigh-in, and what sprung to your mind?
I think I'll use the caption of our video. Joyce putting on that much weight is absolutely batshit crazy. I knew he'd come in heavier, which I personally think any extra weight doesn't make sense because he struggled to get out of the way of Zhang's sort of like plodding in essence. So to me, putting extra weight on, although it might get an early knockout, it defeats the object for me, because if you're putting weight on, you're going to have less movement, and movement was the biggest sort of contributing factor to the loss, in my opinion, in the first fight. So yeah, when I seen it, I expected Zhang to be slightly heavier to try and get him out early again. I'm quite comfortable with Zhang from his perspective doing that. But my first reaction when I seen it, I seen a photo of Joyce stripping, because I couldn't actually watch it live, but I seen a photo straight away and I was like, oh my God, like he's heavy. Like you could just see he looked quite a bit bigger. And 25 pound, we're talking that's not far off 2 stone. That's a lot of weight to be putting on, especially when your biggest issue, in my opinion, and in a lot of people's opinions, was footwork and head movement. So to put on all this extra weight, it's to me, it's go for broke inside the first 3, maximum 4 rounds. But if he doesn't go get him out, then we could very easily be looking at a repeat. But yeah, I think we hit the nail on the head with our caption. It's mental. It's genuinely crazy that they've chosen to do that, in my opinion.
Yeah, and game plans will be fascinating tomorrow in terms of what Joyce tries to go in there and do. I think he could do what you've said and try and get Zhang out there early. On one thing else I'd say is Zhang's kind of had these stamina problems in the past, and Joyce, he's known for having a good engine. Like those stoppages he got against Daniel Dubois and Joseph Parker were both late in the fight, but can he still have that engine in rounds 8, rounds 9, rounds 10, and possibly after that as well, whilst being the size he is? And also, it's the amount that he has put on in a 5-month period as well that is surprising. That fight, I think, was April the 15th, and here we are, September 23rd. It's just over 5 months away, and 25 pounds is a lot of weight to put on. So very interesting. And if he putting on that much weight was part of the game plan, and he pulls it off successfully tomorrow night, then I'll take my hat off to him. Fair play. Owen, interested to get your prediction here. I was on the weigh-in reaction video earlier, and I won't go into detail. I'm going for Zhang to win by stoppage in the mid rounds. I just don't think Joyce will be able to make the adjustments that he's required to do so. But yeah, I will let you. I'll hand the mic over to you now, and interested to see what your official final prediction is ahead of tomorrow night.
I hate to be that person, but we've obviously spoke about it off camera, and I think from what I've seen, reaction on social media, a lot of people are in the same boat as me. My prediction has changed. I went for sort of a bit of an obscure one, and I did think Zhang was going to beat him on points. I said when a few people sort of were like, how do you see that? And I thought Joyce is going to go for broke because he needs to get him out. Obviously, Joyce has got a good tank, but I could see 6 rounds of an absolute slugfest, and then 7, 8, 9 slowing down as we get to the later rounds, just them hanging on for dear life and Zhang scraping to a points win. But after the weigh-in, I hate to change my prediction, but I see an early Zhang stoppage. I think the weight's too much, because although it's like you say, it's commonly known Joyce has a good gas tank. He can go late and get late stoppages, but when you're adding that much weight on after your previous struggles, to me, like I say, if I'm wrong, I take my hat off to him because it's genius. But I personally would have had him slightly lighter, because he's not exactly the lightest of blokes as it is. I would just think with the extra weight, he's clearly going for the knockout, but I think I really don't think he can make enough adjustments to avoid the same punches he was taking, because Zhang was landing, take you pick what punch you want, he was landing them at will. So I would go round 5 as well. I think I'm going to be specific on it. I do think it will be an early Zhang stoppage, purely because of the weight factor. I think Joyce has made a mistake there.
Yeah, I don't disagree with you. So I think we'll probably leave it there and see what happens. And look, one thing I would say is I would love Joyce to do it. I think I just think there's too much. It's too much of an ask for this fight. And Zhang, look, I just think at the end of the day, Zhang is actually quite good. He's obviously come into kind of the spotlight in his late 30s. 3-4 years ago, I don't think, when he was 36, I don't think many people would have really known who he was. But actually, look, when you watch him box, when you see the power that he holds, when you see what he's done against Joyce, the performance against Filip Hrgović as well, he's actually pretty good, and there's no shame in losing to him. And I just think part of this whole situation is people need to understand Joyce up there against the top competitor. If Joyce had beaten Zhilei Zhang the first time, it would have been his best win on his resume, in my opinion. Better than Joseph Parker and better than a 22-year-old Daniel Dubois as well. So we'll see. I'm really looking forward to it. We'll all be watching. Owen, thank you so much for your time. Thank you for putting your reputation on the line as well. We'll see how this one turns out. Zhilei Zhang versus Joyce 2 is the rematch on Saturday, 23rd of September on TNT Sports. Owen, thank you very much for your time.
Pleasure as always, mate.